It's Matt Chapman, and I'm here with Daniele Raugi dos Santos. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Matt. Good to be here.
It's such a pleasure to see your face. Someone I really love spending time with. And I'm just trying to think, where do we go back to? It probably would be Singapore, wouldn't it?
It would be Singapore, and that dates us a decade ago, I guess, or a little bit less. But yes, lovely Singapore.
So you're currently a senior vice president of HR for Iron Mountain, but take everyone through your career background, because yet another beautiful international journey that you've had.
Absolutely, Matt. And I think once we start the journey, we're open to it. We don't know how many possibilities there are, and so it is starting from a strong career in HR, first in Brazil and then Latin America, being Brazilian as a background, and then taking the step of moving to Asia. And at that time with Johnson and Johnson, always to work on either growth or transformation, which are my passions. And so having the opportunity to then build a new organization, take it to the next level in Asia, and then move back to the West, if you will, in North America, based out of the New Jersey area, then managing much more mature business, leading and managing much more mature businesses with different complexity, but equally challenging environments. So it was an extraordinary experience, then going from the medical device space to the consumer space, and then back to medical devices a few years later in Europe. So I'm currently based in Paris, have started here with J&J and then moved on to Iron Mountain. I think each of these experiences have given me so much, and I've learned a lot. I met extraordinary people and leaders, and had the chance to connect with so many customers that we were trying to serve in a different way. And so it's fascinating to see the evolution of technology, to see the evolution of healthcare at that space, and now the evolution of the digital implications to information management at Iron Mountain. So that's a little bit about me. In my current role, I do have a global scope. So I'm based out of Europe, but I support the core business globally. And it is again a transformation in terms of the mix of our physical and digital world.
And for those who don't know, talk a little bit more about Iron Mountain.
Iron Mountain is an information and records management company. It started more with the original storage of paper and making sure that information was secure. We focus on ensuring the security. So we talk about the chain of custody of anything that's important to our customers. So it started with paper. We do have storage of other items. Today we have a arts business, which is it's a chapter in itself to talk about because of the valuables that we store for our clients. We have a data center business, which is the high growth of the organization at the moment, and definitely booming in at the backstage of COVID, because the volume of as we know of the internet just went way higher. And in the core business, which used to be just storage, we do have a focus on process with our clients. So we can take an entire process in a particular cycle of their business and create workflows and then bring the insights to the information, but then also store the information both physically and digitally.
So being in Paris, you probably had a pretty tough time at the start of this pandemic due to the speed. What was that like for you as a HR leader?
It was, I need to start with personally also, it was a moment of grave anxiety because it was something obviously unexpected. We went also to a very rigid lockdown. And then you have to start to reorganize your day and then be available to think about how to best respond to something so unprecedented. And in the beginning, the HR team, they were saying, it was interesting because they said, why does everybody come to HR? It's not an HR problem. And the reality is, helping my team also reframe this, it's absolutely an HR agenda. It is the agenda of flexibilizing the workforce in a respectful and dignifying way, which again, we haven't probably done it as creatively and as quickly as we have done in this timeline. The second one is about not getting it right, but getting it forward. And being that reassurance to our business leaders that we will find solutions to get it done, and that we should be decisive in taking measures. And the third piece was, how do we help leaders then refocus priorities in a year in which we were in a strong growth trajectory? When you look at it and you say, oh, this is going to really change everything we had planned for this year. And so you quickly have to readjust and dive in.
So one of the areas I know you're very passionate about, particularly on what you've observed through this period, is the technical aspect of the the HR profession and the creativity that potentially exists to change the way we do things. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. I felt during this process that we allowed ourselves as a function, as a profession, to look at things in a much more expansive way than we had before. I think from a technical aspect of the function, there is a compliance element, right? So we focus on, let's do this with the right compliance in terms of how we build our workforce, how we allocate labor, how we flexibilize labor. But all of a sudden, this became a platform that we could say, we do want to retain as many of our talent as possible, but we do have to adjust. How would we do that? And having to do that within really 2 to 3 weeks time frame globally, you just are forced outside of the original norms. And then you start to, with the partnership of your business leaders, and I will say one of my biggest partners, obviously, in this has been the legal team, is to say, how do we design for this world? And then you quickly operate as if that is the new world. So that was a big learning, I think, for us as a team. And so this is the technical piece of that, but obviously then doing everything we can in a very caring way, in a very transparent way, right? Quickly being transparent about, these are the new conditions of our business. This is what's changing. And this is how we're going to go through this together. That is really it was a big learning, I think, for us as a team, and personally for me as, yes, these are the current norms, but the current times are not the norm.
No, anything but. And one other area that I know you have a particular, observation on is what you termed as decisive leadership.
Yes. I think this is for me more of in the space of a reminder, because when we quickly started to work on our plans, you could see the different strength of plans that teams could put in place. And it was almost, it was almost the leader's personality, if you will, not in terms of just the persona, but their style, their focus, their ability to prioritize, to engage a team, and to say, we're going to go this way, and to be willing to equally, with decisiveness, adjust and change. So obviously we know that having the right leaders in these critical roles is super important every day. But this reminder became I would say, a screaming reality in which you could trust your leaders to navigate at the local level, because a lot of things had to take place at the local level. You don't have the time or the ability to manage everything, so you had to trust and empower. And you could see the strength of the leadership that was championing a particular team, completely changing the ability of those teams to actually deliver strong results, serve the customers in a way that other leaders wouldn't.
You've also talked to me about love or care.
At Iron Mountain, we do use the word love at work, and I love that. Because it really, I think the power of love, when channeled in the right way in the work environment, takes us to a different level of relationship and commitment to each other. I felt also, similar to the decisiveness in leadership, leaders who are caring, that create or deepen their relationship with their teams in a more personal and caring way, were able to first find out about things that we really needed to tackle that maybe they wouldn't surface right away, and be more mindful of those things. To create a different level of engagement virtually, it took a lot more energy. Obviously, it is taking us a lot more energy. So making the time to care and to listen has also been a big reminder for me. I think even when, and we all went into it saying, well, how are we going to continue to have the depth in the relationships that we have when we go into meetings, when we are visiting markets? And obviously there is a component that you can't make up for, but the intentionality of creating caring and engaging more personal moments with smaller teams or even one-on-one has, I think, made a big difference in how we all appreciate each other and what we bring, the whole self, rather than the topic, if you will, in a particular situation.
Beautiful perspectives and reflections. Much appreciated. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you, Matt.